Well, we're starting to get an almost like spring-like weather. It's supposed to be a high of 51 today. And you can see it's just beautiful out. This is the first time we're not using a jacket actually outside and shooting videos. We've had a deep freeze. And it gets me thinking about habitat improvements, but especially water holes, because water holes represent likely the most powerful attraction that you can have during that sweet spot of late October to December for deer hunting. You always make sure it's legal in your state, but it's legal in most states. And what's better than hunting a water hole that you've installed exactly where you want to get a bow shot from? And that's what I really like about a water hole. There's a few water hole specifics. I started talking about water holes over 20 years ago, online, writing, in books. And so they're a very important part of what we do. And we've been doing it for a very long time. It's interesting when you hear people talk about water holes, they're leaving out a lot of things that we've learned throughout the decades that are important. Talk about some things with the water hole. We started using it with cut 55-gallon-and-a-half troughs. They're about 27.5 gallons, obviously. And we found quickly that in a week or 10 days, there's no water in them. So they ran out very, very fast. Now, not to say in a super rainy fall, they wouldn't have some use, but not very dependable. We jumped to 100 to 110 gallon tanks. Those work pretty well. We'd go through some years where we'd fill them 4 or 5 times. Some years we didn't have to fill them at all. The bottom line is they weren't dependable. We moved to 150 gallons. 150 gallons obviously worked better. It's 50 gallons more. But in the right circumstance, deer go through about 100 gallons every 3 to 4 weeks. What that means is that 150 gallons was done in 6 weeks with drought. And that happens a lot during the fall. So we've moved to 300 gallons recently. That's what this is. Same depth as a 150, just twice as big. They're 63 by 69 inches, 25 inches deep. And with that depth, we found that's the right ratio. Let me explain this. 55-gallon drum sitting right here, full of water. Let's say you even buried that down. Deer can only get the top few inches, especially a big buck. They're never going to step in it. And not much evaporation because there's very little surface area per gallon of water. The opposite, you get an 8-9 foot wide swimming pool or watering hole for deer that's only 9 inches, 15 inches, 12 inches deep, 13 inches. There's so much surface area, it'll evaporate quickly. So that 100 gallons every 3 to 4 weeks turns into 100 gallons every 2 to 3 weeks. So there's a sweet spot of surface area to depth. These 300-gallon Rubbermaids are what we found. I'm not sponsored by Rubbermaid. I don't have a partnership with them. I don't own Rubbermaid stock. It's just the best thing out there right now, currently, that we can use for water holes that fits that sweet spot. We add a critter stick in there all the time. We've done that since day one. And that helps those little critters get out that fall in there. Otherwise, you come back and you have some poor little critter that died in there and you have to get them out. It stains the water. You have to clear out the water. Not a good thing all around. So put a critter stick in there. That helps the critters escape. That's a very good thing. Now, when I put this in, I want to put this in below grade. So you can see this grade over here. It's been frozen all winter. And I want water to be able to actually run off and come into this tank. That's very critical because then it keeps you from having to fill. You want it sloped a little bit. Even if there's no slope, you want that lip below grade all the time. That still helps you navigate the actual ingredients that cause EHD. EHD is formed by dry and receding cracked mud. Helps the EHD midge propagate. As that water decreases around a natural water hole, those midge get into those cracks and mud. That's where they live until you get rains in the fall, and that fills up and covers those cracks. Then you have EHD. With a water tank right here, you don't have mud around the outside during the summertime. We actually plant our Green Max Traffic. You see the grass that's growing around here, little bits of bird's foot trefoil, vetch, and that's meant to hold the soil. There's 4 parts grass, 1 part clover, vetch, trefoil. What you find with the clover, if it's all clover around here, the deer hoof it up and it disappears. Bottom line is, around a tank water hole, there's no mud. The water's in the tank. Very rarely does the water get above the tank. Very unlikely to do so, and when it does, it just quickly runs away. So it's running the way through grass. They're finding even over in Ohio, Eric Long, he's a deer manager over there. They're finding when they plant this all the way around, can't remember if it was him or Jeremy from the Hunter podcast, but what they're doing is they're planting that in green growth all the way around those water holes, making sure you have a thick green vegetative growth that helps filter out and decreases the effects of mud. But even then, if that water keeps receding and going down, you can get that cracked. So it really helps you avoid EHD. Also, really important, there's 2 more points. When that lip starts to stick out by 8 inches, a foot, deer see it from the side and they do not like it. We have decades of experience of watching deer go up to water holes that we first put 10 inches high or just laid them on the surface. Deer look at it and run. Imagine that mature buck that hasn't been on your property since the year before. He comes in October. He sees that water hole during the day, some black outline shape, squared off of the top. They do not like it. Trust me. So that's another reason for getting that water hole down to actual ground level. And then a really important aspect of water holes. Now we add some dirt in there for a little bit clean texture and taste to deer. But really important that you do not put this water hole on a food source. These water holes represent all day movement. They're great for morning, midday, and afternoon during the rut. A whitetail will come to this water hole at all hours of the day, especially a cruising buck. However, we take this water hole, we put it out on whatever food plot we have around here. Doesn't matter if it's a hunting plot or a big holding plot. Those mature bucks are typically not on that food source till that last 45 minutes, 15 minutes of the day, or after dark a little bit. That doesn't change no matter how attractive you make the plot or if you put a water hole there. Does it make sense when you put a water hole there? It's just almost making the food plot more attractive. But it doesn't mean that deer is going to go out into the opening and drink that water. What you did is you just destroyed an all-day movement by putting it on the water hole. This water hole right here represents a different wind needed to hunt it than hunting that food plot 150 yards over there or that food plot 200 yards over there. Different winds needed. So that gives us a lot of combinations of hunting. We can sit here all day and hunt. We can sit here morning, afternoon, and then we can hunt these 2 food sources in different directions with different winds in the afternoon. A water hole is a great ingredient for connecting the dots as well. We have a giant buck bedding area over there on this point. Young bucks transition through here through a narrow area where they don't bed. It's a little bit more open timber. They go over there, giant doe buck bedding or doe bedding right up against the food source. That represents a staging area right there. It's a doe bedding staging area. We can hunt on the outside of that with a different stand location, get into it a lot safer than in here, depending on the time of day. But bottom line is, between that mock scrape over here, this mock scrape right here, this water hole, that constructed bedding area over there for bucks, that doe constructed, that food source over there, we've really built the line right here of movement that establishes movement and buck movement over a several 100-yard area with multiple stands used that we can take advantage of. And it's no surprise this water hole is right in the middle of it all, because that gives us a great all-day stand location. And those are all the ingredients for establishing a great water hole. This is the best advice I've come up with in over 2 decades of use. We'll keep trying to refine the process, but it's very important to us. We shoot a lot of deer over them. Jen shot her buck, her Minnesota buck, with a bow this year over one. I shot both my Minnesota and Wisconsin bucks over a water hole last year, even 2024. Jen and I shot both our 2022 bucks over the same water hole with our bows. Kind of get the picture. They can be a very important ingredient, but you gotta do it right. And if you follow these tips, you'll find success deer hunting a water hole this year, and this is a great time to plan. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching. We're getting our first taste of spring. It's supposed to be 51 degrees today, still middle of the winter, but we're thinking about habitat. We're thinking about food plots, planting with Pure Wildlife Blends, our seed company. We're thinking about our web classes, books. Even if you can hire us, we still have a couple spots available for this year. So check out the website. Really appreciate you watching. We have a lot to offer, and I hope it can help you out this year.